What is up, Tampa Bay? Good evening. Happy to be with y'all tonight. I am joined by the hostess with the mostest, Miss Stacy Amon up in Pasco County. Good evening, Stacy. You are muted. I'm sure your voice sounds lovely behind that mute button. What did you do to yourself? Stacy has muted herself, y'all. I hit the unmute button. It's not working. Well, this is an interesting kickoff to the. Well, welcome. Are we good now?
Are we? Can
yes.
you hear me?
And
well, happy Tuesday.
Yeah, happy Taco Tuesday. Apparently, it's Stacy's first time.
I promise my mute button was not muted.
Oh, well, technology can be a bugger sometimes, as we're well aware. And welcome, y'all. Welcome to the conversation here. Welcome to Tampa Bay Q&A Live. Happy to be with you guys. And if this is your first time joining us, my name is Juan, Alcalá, and we make videos that are all things Tampa Bay. What it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, what it's like to play here. We talk about food, dining, outdoors, beaches, sunshine, new construction developments, traffic. You're going to get it all here. Now, I want to give you our format so you guys know what to expect for the remainder of the evening, because I know sometimes people show up later and watch these replays and they're like, hey, why don't you just get to the point? Well, the point is hanging out with the community. So we're joined by some incredible people from all over the country, as a matter of fact, not just here in Florida, even though we got my brother Kevin over in Lakeland. What's up, Kevin? Good evening. Good to see you. Got Miss Jane out in San Diego, California, who's making a relocation journey of her own here to the Tampa Bay area. We're so excited to be with Miss Jane. She's amazing, and a local viewer as well, making her way over there. We got Mr. Cook in the house live from Tampa Bay. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. I love that. Happy to have you. Also, Brian and his wife, they're amazing clients of ours. Brian just made it down. Abby sent me a photo, Stacy, on Instagram of her pack job in the back of the car. And she's like, do you like my essentials? And you'll never guess what was in the back of that vehicle.
I have no idea what.
It was their Breville espresso machine. And I love now, Brian and Abby, I don't know if I ever told you that story before. Did I tell this story live before, Stacy? This is why it made me laugh. Oh, Stacy's internet's going crazy again. All right, so I have to bring this up, y'all. And yes, we're going to talk about Tampa Bay. I promise. We're going to get into some really cool stuff. We've got Tampa ranked as #1 in the country for a good thing. We'll get to that tonight. We're going to get to a new country club that's on its way to the area as well. And no, I am not a member, but we should talk about it because, again, it's a cool amenity and things are happening here. But I definitely wanted to get into this story here with our trip. So about 2 winters ago or 2 falls ago, here in Florida, y'all, we don't get a fall color change of our trees, right, Stacy?
Right.
Right. It goes from green to green. It stays green. We do have leaves that fall off, and I've shared this before, but it's the strangest thing. Like in the winter, the leaves fall off the tree, but they're still green on the tree. It's the weirdest thing in the world. It's like they're growing and dying at the same time, right, Stacey? It's kind of strange. The oak trees, it's just weird, right? Yeah. They definitely thin out a little bit, but there's still greenery on the tree. It never dies. The oak trees, the palms never change. They do their thing, right? Anyways, we love color. So we wanted to go up north. So I took the family up to Blue Ridge in Georgia, the Blue Ridge Mountains. Unbelievable. We went up to go see the fall colors, and they had such a drought that all the leaves had already fallen off the trees. It was so disappointing. However, we were going to stay in this cabin for 2 weeks on the side of this mountain. It's beautiful, by the way. And we were going, and the last time I went anywhere up into Tennessee, the hills, it took me 20 minutes to drive down to a cup of coffee. And it was usually pretty treacherous because there's no street lights and the streets are like, you're just back, or the streets themselves are back and forth and they're wet and you're doing the thing. So it was like, I was like, I remember that, I'm going to do that. And the coffee was, let's be honest, it was substandard. It just was substandard. So what I decided to do was take our Breville espresso machine to Blue Ridge Mountains, and boy, did my wife let me have it about that. She was like, "We don't have room for that," and I was like, "Babe, trust me, this is going to be a good thing." And we brought the Breville, brought the coffee, set it up, and it would have taken me 20, 25 minutes to get the coffee again, but. Right, we're there, and the very next morning, our in-laws met us there. My wife's there, the kids are there. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's drinking coffee. My wife walks into the kitchen, and she looks right at me. And this is the closest thing I've ever gotten to an apology from Kate in my entire life. She looked right at me. She's like, "I'm not saying I was wrong, but that was a really good idea." And I about died, y'all. I about died. That was Kate's way of apologizing for the thoughtfulness that I had for everybody there. But I share that with you, Brian and Abby, because I don't remember telling you guys that story. Maybe we did, but the fact that you showed me what was in the trunk of your vehicle moving to Florida, and the priority was espresso machine in the back of the vehicle, tells me that you are our people and we love you for it. So thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's fantastic. We got a little tangent there, and that's what we're all about here, right? We're here about community, y'all. We feel free to join the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Ask questions about the area if you haven't. We're here to help answer those questions and hang out and share our wonderful city with you guys. So that's what this night is all about. We have lost Stacy. She's been having some serious internet issues where she's at, but happy to be with you guys this evening. We got Zach up in Boston. What is up, Zach? Good evening. Got Nick. He says hello to the chat. He's talking to you guys specifically. You got Mr. Harvick, Kevin Harvick 29. All right, are you the real Kevin Harvick? Because that would be amazing, by the way. Up in Atlanta, Georgia. Love that. Fantastic, sir. And then here's Abby chiming in now. She says there's always room for the Breville. I agree, 100%. We are working on getting a new impress. Abby, the sea and salt, I don't know. It matches the kitchen. You know the deal. We're going through all that rehab stuff right now. So you know what I'm talking about. Anybody that owns a Breville, it's like the little culture. It's the best way I can describe it, y'all. Best way I can describe it. Jane says, my husband had to pack all of his wine collection and put that inside of the car to be shipped to Florida. We don't even know that the packer movers don't pack any alcohol. Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that either. But at least the collection is being protected. That's the important part here, right? Love the fact that that's where we're at. All right, let's get into some news here, y'all, because we had some pretty cool stuff pop up this week, and I definitely want to share it with you guys. You know my love for Tampa here. We're here to share all things Tampa Bay, but one of the really cool things that just popped up this week was that Tampa was voted the most relaxing city in the United States. And I've said this many times on this channel before, but the way I try to describe Tampa is it's this t-shirt flip-flop kind of vibe. Okay, it's very laid back. It's on its own time, and the t-shirt flip-flop thing may be a little bit of a hyperbole or exaggeration, but that's what I wear every day, so that's why I say that. But ultimately, we've got our own tempo. It's not crazy fast paced. It definitely has just a lifestyle vibe about it, and it's something you'll love. And I wanted to get into this and share with you the 5 most relaxing cities, so you guys can see this with me here. And we ranked number 1, and they gave a score right on a few things in here, talking about green space, walkability, daylight minutes, temperature difference from 66 degrees Fahrenheit, which I found fascinating, and I actually found an inaccuracy here, I think, but it's not too far in the weeds. We'll get into that later. And then hours lost due to traffic congestion, right? Like that is a factor. And I know living here in Tampa Bay, if you guys are local, feel free to share on this, because traffic in some spaces is absolutely brutal. And I'm not going to dude, I'll never hide that from anybody. But if you know how to get around it, you can. And that's the big focus, I think. Talk about crime rank and the number of attractions. Okay, so that's how they rank this overall. But Tampa got number 1, which I thought was awesome, by the way. So, well, too far, y'all. We went too far. Okay, New Orleans was number 2, or New Orleans. Man, I hate not pronouncing that correctly. San Francisco was number 3. Miami, another Florida city, hit number 4, and then the most laid back, rounding out number 5, was San Diego. Now, I have been to San Diego many times actually, and I actually really love San Diego. I think it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet from like natural beauty. It's phenomenal, and it does have its own cadence too. So when people call me from San Diego, you know, I always describe like the vibe here and how it feels, and like, you know, when you look at places like Ocean Beach, they remind me of St. Pete and like that kind of thing. So this article is interesting, but it talked about these scores, right? Like overall, we got a 74.23. Our green space rank was 50%. And this is fascinating to me because so many people locally complain about how little green space we actually have, but we rank really high, right? We don't rank as high as everywhere. You know, New Orleans at 70%, almost 71% there, right? You look at some of these other areas, they're over 60, but we're still in that, I'm sorry. The green space is 50%. So just make sure that I'm clear on that. We beat out New Orleans. We beat out San Francisco, crushed Miami. Miami has 2.9% green space. That's their rank. Like virtually nothing, right? The walkability on this one, I didn't expect us to win here because while Tampa right downtown definitely has a lot of walkability, I don't think that's our forte. You know, you got to live in neighborhoods, you know, right near downtown, or if you go to St. Pete, obviously there's walkability there too. But we ranked 50 in that one, so not great. The daylight minutes, y'all. This is one of my favorite things. You know, again, you don't have to shovel sunshine. It's one of my favorite things to say, right? It's not something you have to do. Welcome back, Steve. Welcome back. Happy to have you. So, but we get so much sunshine, not only daily and annually, but also daylight in minutes, right? So 637, we average more daylight than most, which is great. The temperature difference from 66 degrees. Now, when I read this, I was like, what are we talking about right now? Right. And it got into the weeds here and said that the Tampa ranks 70 degrees annually. That's not true. It's right about 75. I want to make sure that that's accurate. And I know right now it was 88 degrees today or whatever, and it's been 91 or 92 degrees for a week. So everybody's like, that's not true. But when you take in the entire average over the year, that's a very good number. Okay, so that's pretty exciting. And then hours lost due to traffic congestion. This is a fun stat here. I would love to get deeper into how they rank this, but Tampa loses 34 hours. Okay, this is annual, is what they're saying. 34 hours to traffic. New Orleans 39, San Francisco 46, Miami 74. Twice as bad. Wow. I know. I was like, holy cow. So there's some big numbers in there, y'all. Atlanta 65. The fact that, and I have, in all fairness, I've not been to Miami in 3 years because it's like Wally World down there. And seeing that Miami has more lost hours to traffic than Atlanta is shocking. Right? Absolutely shocking to me. So wow to that. And then the crime rate, what does it say? Crime rate rank, lowest number of crimes. Okay. So like you can see on this list, 5,500 versus New Orleans at 63, San Francisco at 81, Miami at 6,100, and then San Diego is pretty good at 4,000. So some good stuff to look at here. Austin's up a little bit, but love looking at things like this, right? And again, what a great thing to be recognized for. The most relaxing city in the United States. Very proud of that. Think it's awesome. Shout out to Tampa for that. Pretty cool stuff that's happening there. Love that. All right. What did Jane say? That's why we're moving to Florida. So tired of living in San Diego. There you go. Everybody's got their thing, right? And Jane's making it happen. Banana Republic says, do you think homes have the potential of decreasing another 15 to 20% within the next few years? No, I honestly don't. And I can get into, we broke down the numbers the last few weeks, but overall, there's only been 2 times in the history of the United States where housing prices have corrected 20% or more. Only twice in the history of real estate. Stacy, do you happen to know when those are if you had to guess?
08.
Great. Yep. Great Recession.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the other one is? It also has a great in the title.
Was it?
The Great Depression.
Okay. Great Depression.
Yeah, that's it, y'all. So Banana Republic, that's why, right? It's not a very bold proclamation if you're saying that. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is because like we're just not seeing that here. We're down 5% year over year, depending on what city you're in. Some of the cities are up here in Tampa Bay. Some of the cities are flat. Some of them are down 5%. It really depends on where you're at. We do have about 5.5 months of inventory, so that number is climbing. But I don't think people recognize just how deep a 15 or 20% downturn on the real estate actually is. It's way down there. Now, you might be seeing things like this locally. I don't know where you guys are. You may see that. But nationally, to have home prices go down 20%, that means the world's upside down. Okay, the only way that happens is if the economy takes a complete crap. And then, again, it won't be real estate's fault, right? That's the way to explain it, the best way to explain it. So got no control over that, but 20% is just such a huge dip. We're seeing negotiations right now of somewhere between 3 and 7% on the high end, just on resale. New construction, they're still getting their appraised values for the most part. So they're still asking the same number. They're giving the buyers a bunch of concessions, closing costs and reduced interest rates, but their appraised values are holding up. So it's a great question, actually. But man, that's, again, historically speaking, that is a long way down. 20% is wild. Right. So, but great question. And like I share with you guys, bring your questions. Happy to answer them. My guess is here in Tampa, my professional opinion is we'll end up somewhere down between 4 and 7% year over year. That's where I believe we're going to end up if interest rates stay where they've been for the last 3. If interest rates go down and the conventional rate has anything with a 5 in it, and or the governor gets the tax initiative on the ballot, all that's out the window. All that's out the window. We'll be busy as all get out again. So just sharing my perspective on that and what we're seeing out in the marketplace. But awesome. Okay. Stacy's got something really cool tonight that she wants to share. Actually, we've already shared this community with you guys, but it was in pieces to say the best. Right? And now it's starting to come to life, so to speak. So really excited to kind of get into this. And y'all, can we just say right up front that Stacy and I aren't necessarily the country club type. Is that fair, Stacy?
That's a pretty accurate assessment.
Okay. Now, what I mean by that is, look, can I go mingle with? Yeah, that's the thing. But I'm not a member of a country club, and neither is Stacy. Okay. But for those of you who are really into that type of thing, this is going to be important. Okay. So we're not judging. We're bringing the info as we got it. So talk to us, Stacey. What is going on over in Two Rivers? So
in Wesley Chapel, Zephyr Hills area, in the Two Rivers community, there is going to be a social club, exclusive social club called The Landing.
Ooh,
yep.
Fancy.
And it is an estimated project of $27 million. So it's going to be a fancy social club, not really fancy. That's me being sarcastic, but they are going to have, let's see, a racket sports complex. They're going to have 8 pickleball courts.
Yeah.
And here, maybe Brian can help me out with this, but there's going to be multiple Hair True tennis courts.
Multiple, what are they called?
Har True tennis courts, HAR-TRU. I don't know what that means.
This
He's a tennis pro, so surely he knows, right?
Yes. Brian will know. All right, let me pull that. I want to pull that photo. There we go. We can zoom in on it. That's what's going on. All right, here we go. Now hopefully you guys can see what's happening there. All right, you got tennis courts up to the right, pickleball courts to the right. There's a playground, some kind of green space over here, also here. Fitness center, which we showed you the photo. The clubhouse, which will have a restaurant in it and cocktail lounge and all the things, right, Stacy?
Yeah.
You got a lagoon. Go ahead.
In the fitness center, there's going to be a spin studio and a yoga lawn.
Nice.
Just FYI.
Yep. Lagoon and pool for the kiddos. And then there's a lap pool in here too. And then another green space area. I mean, this looks awesome. Not going to lie. Pretty cool thing to have in your backyard if you're into, the social clubs. And there's I think there's 3 new pickleball venues that are coming online right now too, Stacy, in the entire Tampa Bay area. Huge facility. So I'm really intrigued to see, is this here to stay? I know it's been very popular for the last 5 years. That's when I started to really take notice. It could have been, for those of you pickleball's been a thing, but I totally understand. You guys could totally be right. It's not my gig.
For a decade before we figured it out.
Yeah. But I'm interested. I got invited to play this past week, and I'm like, man, I'd really like to. I'm in. But I've also watched my pastor blow out his Achilles last year.
Yeah. A lot of injuries with pickleball. Yeah.
So I definitely have my apprehensions on this, but Stacy, this is cool. I love stuff like this in terms of coming to the community. We talked about Zephyr Hills and the Two Rivers community. We've done a video on that. We've got clients looking out that way, just in the interest of full transparency with you guys. A lot of the people that we serve through this YouTube channel and the real estate journey are families. And, while Pasco has great schools, Zephyr Hills is not necessarily known for their schools yet. Right. So if that's not important to you, that's great. Do I think that they are going to bring that standard up just like they've done everywhere else in Zephyr Hills? Yes. Or I'm sorry, in Pasco County.
Yeah. They do have plans to build a school out there. It just hasn't started yet. So.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. And I was going to say, Two Rivers is going to be a really, really nice community. But there's 2 HOAs because of the social club, and you are required to spend a certain amount of money each year at the restaurant and that kind of thing. So
that's pretty standard for clubs like that. I'm trying to pull up their website.
Yep. But a lot of builders have opened their models over there. So D.R. Horton and Lennar has been building over there. They kind of kicked off the community several years ago, but now we have Taylor Morrison is open, Pulte Homes, MI Homes.
West Bay.
Yep, Homes by West Bay. And there's a builder called Park Square Homes.
Yep.
So I think there's 7 builders over there right now.
Yeah, good. You got a lot to choose from. The D.R. Horton development, I think, is almost all the way sold through. Lennar was almost all the way sold through. You can see they still have some for sure, but they are pretty close to ending. Here's the Park Square home. So you got the Hampton model, Margate model, and the Charlotte. William Ryan Homes is out there. So that's another one. Homes by West Bay, one of our favorite builders. We talked lots about Homes by West Bay. The Biscayne 2 is my absolute favorite model in all of Tampa Bay. Still stuck on that, Stacey. I want one just to have it at this point. Not going to happen, but it sounds good to say. Pulte's out there, like she said. Who else is out there?
MI.
Yep. Which Stacey purchased the MI home. She liked that.
I did.
Yep. So lots of options out there, y'all, for you guys to check out. But the community is really nice. But like I said, I always want to be super transparent, especially with the parents themselves who are looking for this type of stuff. Schools are always at the top of their list when they meet with me and Stacy and the team. They're always at the top of the list. And I don't ever want to be somebody that's like, yeah, the community's so beautiful, just ignore that the schools aren't great. Right. And I'm not saying they're bad. I just want to make sure that we're transparent with everybody. And here's the map here. So you guys can see what's kind of going on. And On the south end, which they're not showing yet of this is actually the Hillsborough County section below here, which, you know, Pasco County is where Wesley Chapel is, where Stacy lives, and Lando Lakes and in those areas up there. And then Hillsborough is where Tampa is proper, right? So you got New Tampa in those areas here, but it crosses boundaries. So Two Rivers is going to be both in Pasco County and in Hillsborough County. And there's going to be the private golf club is going to be down there as well.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. So there's going to be more like luxury builders on that side, which haven't been announced yet.
Yeah, they still don't have the details on that. People are definitely been waiting. Lot sizes are pretty good. You can get up to a 70-foot lot. That's 70 foot wide, just so everybody knows what we're talking about. The depth is different. It's going to depend on the piece of property specifically, but 70-foot wide lot is a great lot to kind of target there. So definitely a nice addition to the Tampa Bay area. And for those of you wondering, for context, where the heck is it?
I know we've talked about the surf park that was announced, and this is the same area where the surf park's going to be.
Yep, exactly. So here is an example. Here's Two Rivers. Let me on both sides here. It'll go all the way down on the Hillsborough side. It's up here. And then you got D.R. Horton here. Lennar's over on this side. And then when you cross the road, when you cross 56 and go south, now you get into West Bay, Pulte, all the other builders in the south down there. And then down here is where that club's going to be. Okay, just so you guys have reference for where the heck we're talking about. And if you can get through my scribbles there and learn what's going on, but let me pull out even further so you guys can kind of see where it is. So, you know, to downtown Tampa from there, you know, you're most likely going to take the Interstate 4 to 301. That's the fastest path with traffic and everything. Your other option is you go in through Wesley Chapel in the Lutz. This is where the premium outlets are, right here at 75 and 54. Right? So you've got Costco, the premium outlets, all kinds of stuff down there, right, Stacy? It's like Wally World. And
you got everything you need
everything you need is in that corner right there. And then you can jump down into Tampa proper that way if you want, or you can head over towards, you know, Fred Howard Park and go to the beach, you know, those types of things as well. But just to give you guys reference on what we're talking about, Two Rivers is up here on the northeast side, essentially, of what I would call Tampa Bay. All right. So like, it's not the complete corner, but you're getting out there a ways. All right. So in terms of where it is, let's say hello to everybody else who chimed in here. What's up, y'all? Sorry, we're in the weeds there talking about everything. Evan, what's up, my man? Says, what's up, Juan? Wife and I are looking to relocate to Tampa later this year. Well, come on down, bro. Feel free to reach out to us. Like we always say to everybody, y'all, just feel free to grab time in our calendar. You can go to thattampalife.com and then you can just hit contact or schedule a call and go right in there. That number will take you right to my phone, so you guys have access to that as well. I'm happy to make that connection with you, dude. So thanks for reaching out, brother. Appreciate you on that. Where we at? Lost my spot. Okay, Jane says, is home insurance in Tampa very expensive? This is totally a great question that matters on where.
Where and how old?
The how old thing is very important, and the where is very important. You know, insurance, y'all, on new construction properties can be very affordable is the best way I could put it, but like practically in line with everybody else I ever speak to around the country. But coastal real estate that is old, oh boy, right? You can find and you can find everything in between there. So, you know, we see 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house that are all block construction out in the suburbs like Wesley Chapel or Land O'Lakes, like literally with insurance prices of $1,200 annually, right? Brand new. And then we also see coastal real estate, you know, a 1980s home that's built out of wood that is in the lowest flood zone that may have an $8,000 policy required on it. So like this is all over the board. Y'all, I'm less than 2 miles to the ocean, and my annual insurance price is $3,400 a year. Okay, so like it really depends on a lot. I have an all block construction house. My house was built in the 70s. It'd probably be cheaper if it was new, but it's not. So it's a great question. All right, you go ahead and take this one, Stacey. You got Shadelin.
Currently, currently in Connecticut, and everyone I talk to about buying in Florida tells me not to buy a condo. What's the deal with the condos?
That usually I say everybody around you is nuts, but this is fairly sound advice at this point.
Yep, condos are struggling right now for sure. Yep, we've got a lot of condos in inventory, and with the recent changes to having to have the condo building up to code because of what happened down in Miami and having to have extra reserves, it's really been a struggle for a lot of condo owners.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
probably why
hard.
we're seeing a lot.
Yes, I mean, it's hard to get mortgages on condos right now because a lot of the HOAs are underfunded or self-fund. There's all kinds of stuff happening in there, and I'm not saying that there aren't good opportunities in it, but you have to. There's a whole lot of homework that needs to go into buying a condo. My recommendation is pretty simple at this point. Don't buy anything that's older than 10 years old on the condo side. And I'm not saying this is the law. It's just how I would approach it, right? I wouldn't buy a condo that's older than 10 years old. 10 years or newer is what I would look for if it's going to be a multi-story building. Okay, anything more than 2 stories. If it's a 2-story or less, then you're not subject to all of that nonsense that's happening on the back end with engineering. So those are typically the most desirable from that perspective, because we have a lot of condos in Florida that are 50 years old, 60 years old, 40 years is like newer for the most part. And there's this have and have not thing right now. Like the only thing we see going in condos here in the Tampa Bay area for the most part are very expensive luxury condos, right? They're like million easy to start. I mean, shoot, you go down to St. Pete, Central Avenue, you're talking about $2 million to get going.
Wow.
Right. So it's a whole different world in that space. So just be cautious, get with somebody who understands that game. I think there's some wonderful condos still, but just be cautious, a lot of due diligence, be patient. I would say if it's not a heck yes, don't do it. All right, it's the best way I could give counsel on that. If you want more information on it, Shadlin, or I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, just reach out. That's what we're here for. We're here to make that connection with you guys. Chris, what's
Hi,
up?
Chris.
It's a shout out from
works at Wood Creek.
Yep. You notice Chris did not say hi, Juan.
Well, maybe you have been neglecting him.
This is what happens. This is Stacy's show, y'all. I know who everybody is here for. Right? I'm not fooled by any of that. That's hilarious. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. All right. The McAdams family says, "Hey Juan, I've enjoyed your videos. Heading to town end of June to interview and scope out places to live. Any suggestions of things to do while we're looking for an ideal area?" Things to do. What do you mean, like fun things to do? Well, go to the beach, first of all. I don't know where you guys are going to be hanging out, but go to one of our wonderful beaches. Y'all, it is turtle season, which is amazing, by the way. There's nothing cooler than going down the beach and seeing those huge divots, the tracks that they leave while they go back out to the water in the morning. Oh my God, Stacey, it's amazing. And at some point over the next month, they're going to start hatching those little buggers. And I'm telling you right now, when you see a baby sea turtle running for the Gulf for the very first time, it'll wreck you as a human being. Right? Like, you're like, this is amazing. It's like Nemo all over again, right? Like, it's the most amazing thing. I have video evidence that this occurred. I never thought I'd get to see that, but like, that's awesome. If you can check that out. Beaches are great. Obviously, there's Busch Gardens is awesome. Dude, we've got some amazing museums. I know people say like museums boring. No. Like there's the Glazer Kids Museum in downtown Tampa is awesome. If you want to take the kids down there, if you're gonna have the family with you, Armature Works is a great place to go hang out and do the thing. Like, dude, what are you trying to? You tell me. We got Pop Stroke here, which is like the adult version of putt putt, and I say it's the adult version only because there's no steps. You're not like climbing up jungle gym type of thing. They'll deliver cocktails and nachos to the hole. I mean, what better deal is there, right? They've got ping pong tables and video games and sports all up. Like, there's so many cool things to do. Right. So like that's what I would say about that, y'all. Like, you just help us understand what you guys are trying to accomplish and point in the direction. Love it. Jonathan, what's up, my man? Good to see you. Good to see you. And forgive us, Brian, for finally getting around to him cleaning up what the heck that means. I think it means type of clay tennis courts. Got it. Got it. Clay, that's for the fancy people.
Yeah.
Right?
I knew you would know.
Different game, man. It's a different game for sure. You got grass and clay and concrete, right? Those are the three that I think that they play on. I have a friend who's a tennis nut. And when we go up to Michigan, we always end up, I won't say playing tennis because that would be a very liberal term, right? We get on the court and smacks the balls around. That's basically how it goes down. Evan says, let me see, never thought I'd be a suburb guy, but the way that the surrounding Tampa Bay area does suburbs maybe it may have you change your mind. Don't have these where we live in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, I mean, the amenities that, Stacey, tell them about, like, their whole goal is to make you be like, yeah, I don't want to leave. As soon as you pull into these communities, they're all trying to one up each other, which is a win for the residents, yeah. Right? But like, there's so many things they have to offer.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like living at a resort. I mean, the pools are super nice. I mean, you walk out to the pools and you feel like you're, at a resort in Florida someplace. They make them that nice, and there's always, a playground, tot lots. I mean, I think people are drawn to it because, a lot of people are relocating here and they don't know people. And these master plan communities give you so many opportunities to meet new people.
Yep.
They're always hosting events to bring, everyone together, and it just makes it really appealing for families. It's easier for kids to find other kids to play with. They're just amazing. And you don't know till you see, because I mean, I had a meeting with someone who was like, we do not want to live in a master plan community. Absolutely not. And here they came and visited last week, and they sent me a message and said, maybe we are master plan community people. So you never know. You never know till you see it yourself.
Yep. And that's the way they work. That's their whole goal, is like, you come in and they are like, oh, come on in. It's so nice and cozy in here. And then you're like, my kids can't live in anything other than this. We'd be living in squalor. And that's not true, y'all, but they have you convinced of it by the time you leave.
Yeah. I mean, there is a trade-off. You are closer to your neighbor. Mm-hmm. You are closer. You're not going to get a lot of elbow room.
Yeah, but that's reality. But you do get playgrounds and golf cart paths and bike paths, extra wide sidewalks so 4 people can walk on them at the same time. Like, that stuff, Matt, I'm telling you, it feels different. It matters, right? Like these trail systems and these it's not. Some of these places have cafes that look like Panera.
Yes, they do. Yes.
It's wild, right? Land O'Lakes, where Bexley is. Bexley has its own thing called the Bexley Hub, which is essentially its own neighborhood. Like, it reminds me of the Grove, just smaller and attached to one specific neighborhood. But they got all kinds of restaurants and breweries, and like, it's all right at the end of the subdivision, which is just really cool to see. I thought it was really neat. And those guys have like a pump track, a BMX pump track on there inside of Bexley, which is fascinating. Brian's chiming back in. Clay courts are easier on the joints. That makes sense. And for us, I like to call myself veteran young guy, even though I know that's not true anymore, as evidence. But what's going on here? I appreciate things that are easier on the joints. So thanks for sharing that, brother. I appreciate that. Awesome. Chris, he says, DR Horton has a new section in Archer opening up this weekend in Two Rivers. Premium series.
Ooh. Well, what's the difference, Chris? Tell us.
Getting very fancy around here.
Yes. What's the premium series different from the other series?
Yeah, premium is where it's at. Love that. I love that we're just pull our people in. That's what's up. Jane says, we did check out Lennar. They are nice. A lot of them are on half-acre lots, but we cannot customize it yet. Yeah, again, it's production builders don't give a whole lot of space for doing anything outside of what they've already put together. So yeah, good point on that. Nick says, I have a question about opening a small business versus buying a home. Since you run a real estate business, maybe you can help. Maybe. Let's find out. next getting I want to buy a home, but I also want to open a small business. I can't afford to do both. Or can I use my home as a collateral for a small business loan? I'm estimating the loan would be around $400,000. Nick, this is such a good question. And man, as much as I would love to give you just an answer right here, right now, that would be entirely inappropriate for me. And why I say that is just because I don't have a full understanding of what you're trying to accomplish, what industry you're in, what the total addressable market is here in Tampa for what you're trying to accomplish. And dude, I would be giving you terrible advice just to say it. If you want to have a conversation about that, happy to have that offline so I can get a better understanding of what it is. But I would never blindly tell someone to leverage their home to risk it on their business. The reality is, 90% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years, and another 90% fails over the next 5. So you're leveraging your home to do that. That is for the brave, the bold, and for those willing to live on their parents' couch with their children. So be very careful about that. Right? Again, I'm not telling anybody not to do what they're called to do, but just to blindly hand out advice here on YouTube would be inappropriate at best. I hope that resonates with you, my friend. Happy to have a deeper conversation, but again, want to make sure that I'm giving quality and sound advice. Awesome. Fabian, what's up? He says, hey, temporary neighbors. So sorry, we seem to have jinxed your nice weather since we showed up. Yeah, well, in all fairness, my mother-in-law and Kate's grandma showed up, and I'm assuming at the same time you guys did, and the sun has been really stingy since then. So it's okay, man. We didn't have any rain all winter. Right? It was like hardly anything came. So like we were overdue, and I'm looking forward to seeing some nice, beautiful greenery and flowers bloom because the rain's back. We had a good storm today too. Where are they? Oh, don't tell me. Never mind. I was going to ask an appropriate question on Facebook. Let's say Abby says, Fabian, I think we brought the Indiana weather too. You guys will be fine. There's plenty of sunshine here. You guys will be good.
Well, we're entering the rainy season.
Correct.
So
yep. And
it should blow in and blow out pretty quickly.
Yep. And we have an opinion on Lennar.
I can't say.
Zipping it up. Zipping it up here. All right. Thanks for sharing, Tim. Appreciate that. Nick Adams saying, sorry, I meant to get more of a feel for there. Got it. All right. I will go to the beach, but I don't want to pick the wrong area. More about due diligence on vacation. Job would be in South Tampa or Largo area. All right. Have we not had a Zoom call yet? That's how we fix that problem for you. So, yeah, schedule a Zoom call. The links in the chat. Y'all, I know we're having a problem for some reason with the mobile conversion to the calendar. So if you go to that Tampa Life doc, I'll show you what it looks like, guys. If you come here, you go to thattampalife.com/contact, which is in the chat. Okay, come in here, buying, selling, whatever you're going to do, just click on that. And at the end of it, if you do this on desktop, it'll work for sure. I don't know what's going on with mobile. We're trying to figure it out. But go on there. It'll allow you to schedule a Zoom call with us, and come in and get your questions answered. Happy to pull up Google Maps and walk you through the area and point you in the right direction. But the best way for us to do that is to understand what your ideal lifestyle is. That's how we can get you into a position where you can make the best use of your time and make a qualified decision. So you're not just spraying and praying, so to speak. That is what Stacy and I are great at. That's what we do. We're very proud of our record of not having clients have to move. So
twice, you mean?
Yeah, that's right. Not moved twice. In 14 years, y'all, I've never had to have the client had to move twice. Okay. And I'm very proud of that. And we're not going to let you break it either. So please take advantage of that call. We don't charge for that. We're here to help. And again, if you want our services, happy to do it. But either way, reach out. That's what we're here for. Okay. So we're going to give you good guidance, not just, show you houses. Houses are easy, y'all. You can find 4 walls in a house anywhere in this country. That's not difficult. Right, Stacey?
Right. The community shopping.
Yep, exactly. So again, if you guys go to the website, it looks like this. Just click on it, and then it'll take you where you need to go. Okay? Cool. Nick says, thank you, Juan. You're welcome, bud. You're welcome. And again, man, I'm not gonna put somebody in harm's way without knowing the situation entirely. Fabian says, Abby, must be because we're from Illinois. There we go. Shout out to my Midwest people. This is just part of the deal. Jane says, when is hurricane season? Started June 1st, by the way, and it runs through November 30th. You got it already. You're not even Floridian. You already know. June 1st through November 30th. Builder changed the house to finish up on September 12th. I was worried about hurricanes. Okay, yeah, because you guys were planning on closing in, I thought it was July.
Yeah, I thought it was July too.
Okay, yeah, and delays are going to happen. Lord only knows with all the stuff going on, with tariffs and everything, how that's affecting you guys, because you're doing more, you're doing a custom build, so that's definitely going to be more influential on your end in that respect. So that's great. Love the questions, y'all. Please feel free to bring those. And again, feel free to connect with us. We're we're here to help. Yes, we're real estate agents. We help people move for a living. That's what we do. We are also relocation, children ourselves. Stacy relocated to Tampa 11 years ago. I will be 7 in December. Everyone on our team, every agent on my team has relocated to this area, except for one. I've got one that is a native Floridian.
So, I know she's like the unicorn out there. You don't meet too many born and raised Floridians.
Yep. Absolutely. Love that. Oh, Fabian says, can you a good place to recommend? Yeah, absolutely. Fabian, you can come to my church. Happy to have you there, by the way. I'm not on stage this weekend, I don't think. Am I? What's today? Tuesday? Nope. I'm not worshiping on stage this weekend. So happy to host the family, my man. Feel free to reach out. Send me an email. But Mission City Church in Largo, it's incredible. There's a whole bunch, dude. Our area is great. You got so many options to choose from here. But you're right around the corner from us right now. So it'll be about a 15-minute drive, maybe 20 minutes, depending on where you are in Reddington. But there's so many. Grace family. Dude, reach out. We'll get you connected. Get you connected on that. All right. Let me see here. Nick says, do you think the removal of property taxes in Florida will lead? Well, depends on what that looks like. All right. Here's what I will say. Stacy and I talk about this all the time, and this is brought up all the time during Zoom calls. And the thing I want to share with everybody, just like we shared with your question, was this conversation is purely speculative at this point. Right. This is a politician. And while I do appreciate my governor, this is a politician. Right. And I learned this a long time ago. And it was a great reminder to me. Right. There's promises, there's plans, and there's policy. And all three of those things have to take place in order for us to see something like that. And usually we never get out of the promises phase much of anything in the United States. Right. And again, Florida, wherever you live, right? A lot of promises get made to people, but not a whole lot of action always comes to roost. So he's on it. He is beating the drum. Every week there's new content of the governor sitting in front of somebody telling them that they are going to go to work to make this happen. Right? Now, it's not up to them. This has to be voted by us. It has to make the ballot, number one. And then number two, we all have to vote on it. And honestly, man, I've heard varying opinions on this, which is wild to me. I don't want anybody taking my money. Right? Taxation is theft. As far as I'm concerned, we get taxed to death, y'all. People don't even realize how much taxes we pay. Right? And the fact that you buy a home and you still have to continue to pay taxes, I'm telling you, it's criminal. Right? It makes me crazy to even think that out loud, but here we are. Right. So good question. And I'm going to give you an answer here. Right. Stacy and I will both answer this. Stacy, if the governor is successful in eliminating homeowners' taxes, right? Taxes that you have to pay to the county and the city. If we can take that number from whatever to zero, what do you think is going to happen to Florida real estate?
Yeah, all hell's going to break loose down here in Florida. The supply demand thing, right? The demand's going to go up, supply is going to go down, means prices are going to go up.
There's going to be a whole lot of people and a whole lot of businesses looking to move to Florida. We're already business friendly. We're one of the number one or number two every year in terms of business friendly states. Okay. So like, that's awesome. And if a company can come here, avoid business taxes, property taxes, and income taxes, they're going to come. So it won't just be the people looking to move who can work remote. It'll be more businesses will come too. So this is a really good initiative for the governor. The thing that he's going to have to solve for is how are they going to pay for the infrastructure that we need? Right? Because we all know that the government never goes back on budgets. They just ask for more money. All right. So that's the rub. Good question, dude. It's such a great question. But I'm in Stacy's boat. If property taxes in the state of Florida are eliminated, it will be, I think at some point it will become similar to 2021 again, where it was like 300,000 people moved to the state in 1 year net. Like wild. 30 to 50,000 new people will show up in Tampa that year. I guarantee it. It'll be nuts again. So good question, dude.
And so many of our clients, I feel like they're moving businesses here.
Yep.
It's been, I feel like a larger percentage, definitely.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, listen, as part of I moved here because I was tired of getting beat up on taxes. I've shared this before, but to buy listen, y'all, my house is worth twice the property that I would have purchased when we left Michigan. This home is worth twice that. I would have been taxed. The property taxes on that home alone would equal what I'm paying here in the state of Florida. Wild. And that was at 2018 prices. That makes no sense, Stacy, right? I would have been paying 12, 13 grand more, right? Like $12 or $13,000 for a $350,000, $400,000 house in Metro Detroit in 2018 on taxes. That is bananas, right? And so I didn't have to do that. We pay less than half, actually. I paid about 40% of that number on a house that's worth twice as much. And I don't have a state income tax. So when somebody's like, but your car insurance doubled, don't care. I'm still net to the good. Don't care.
And you have the sun that you see how many times a year versus how many times you see it.
Amen, sis. I do not have to shovel sunshine, y'all. That is the most important thing. So it was great. That's a great question. Corey, what's up, my man? Corey changed his Instagram handle to Beach Bum. I love it, my man. He says, hey, Corey turning in from C-Bus. Was down there for Memorial Day weekend, scoping out neighborhoods. One more trip, and I'll be hitting you up, Juan and Stacy. My belly is still full. But that's great, my man. I love it. But dude, I saw his Instagram and I was like, my man. He is like taking full control, just moving right in there. Mentally, he has already moved. Shout out. Love that. Here's a great question. I have no idea. Are the Rays staying? Might be a deal breaker for us if they move to Orlando. That's well. I don't know too many Rays fans, right? Like you got to be a native Floridian first of all, but I don't know, man. They've been talking about this since the Rays came to St. Pete. Dude. So good question. Don't have an answer. Wild. They're playing in Steinbrenner. It's a really intimate venue. That's pretty cool, actually. I don't know who's going to sit there in August and September, but we shall see. A lot of their road games are during those 2 months. So we'll see what that looks like. It all makes sense, right? Because like the amount of rain delays and how hot that's going to be is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Nick's got more. Nick's just chiming in tonight. So is there some kind of estimate on when this would appear on the ballot? I got at least a year before I buy it, most likely in 2 years. Yeah. The initiative, they're trying to get on the next year's ballot, 2026. That's the goal. They're trying to get some relief this year. It sounds like they're working on like $1,000 tax credit for this year for homeowners. $1,000 is $1,000. I always tell anybody, anytime there's a comma in it, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lot of money. Jane said, I heard a lot of people paid off their house. The Governor DeSantis is pushing for those people to get rid of the property tax. And again, yeah, I've heard different variations of this too, Jane. And, I'm an advocate for that. I understand that is going to affect my infrastructure resource. I understand that. But what I don't want to see is, again, you should not be renting your home from the government. And that's essentially what you're doing after you pay. It doesn't make any sense to me. We can figure out how to get those taxes elsewhere. again, I don't have a problem paying more. Listen, first of all, our state sales tax is not expensive. It's 6%. We have cities that add stuff on top of that, but 6% is more than reasonable. And I can control what I want to spend my money on. Right. But when you become a senior citizen, you're on fixed income, like this stuff doesn't make any sense. So I'm with it. If that's a way to solve for X, I'm here for it. But if you can just pay off your mortgage, that's going to affect a lot more people than just the seniors. And I think, again, you shouldn't pay off your house and then have to pay the government for the rest of the time. That's crazy to me. So thank you for bringing that up, Jane. It's great. Vlad says, I'm ready to lay back, take a nap on the rack. Dig it. All right. Craig is in the house. Says, if the measure makes it to the ballot, will it require at least 60%? Yes, 63% is state law, I believe. 60 or 63%. I'm trying to remember now. Because cannabis almost got there, but it was like 58%. It didn't make it. So it was close. It's still majority, but you got to have this super majority, if you will, to make it happen. Good question. Corey says, thinking of a 3-2 condo between the Gulf and downtown St. Pete. What are you seeing in terms of rates, association fees, and re-engineering assessments? Well,
that's kind of a loaded question, right?
Dude, it is property specific. There's so many layers here. We're gonna have to get deeper on that, bro. It'll take us all night to answer that question. We literally have to pull them up. And Corey's asking a great question. We had a condo question earlier, right? Like he's thinking about a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just so for anybody's wondering what that means. Between the Gulf and downtown St. Pete. So he's saying on the water in downtown. So it's about a 15-minute drive, only because most of that driving is going to be 25, 35 miles an hour. So it's not far. We're talking about a 5-mile stretch, if you will. 7, like depending where you're at. So like 7 or 8 miles total. So that's a really good question. Some of these homeowners associations are uninsurable right now. So that is why all this matters. Some of them are well funded. Their engineering certs are done. Their structural work's been, whatever it is, all done. Like, so there's these unicorns in here too, but we just really got to be mindful of it. And the HOA fees, again, they can be wild. So they really got to take a look at that. I love the lifestyle that comes with condos, but right now I'm just really like pump the brakes, do a lot of homework, right? Because if that continues to progress and get worse and more challenging, you'll never get out of it without taking a bath. And there's a lot of them that can't get mortgages. So there's a whole nother conversation, but good question. Is there a huge difference between flood insurance costs between the first and second, third floor condo? No, because what's happening is that there's a master association insurance that is covered on the structure of the building and the property itself that is carried by all of the homeowners. And then your insurance is typically for your damages that you may cause, like you left the toilet running or the tub running and it overflowed and damaged your neighbor underneath. It's usually personal property. So it doesn't matter on that. You're carrying the cost as an association. So everyone's paying their fair share, if you will, of that insurance cost. Not always, but that's typical. Hopefully that makes sense. Is there a maximum amount? No, absolutely not. An HOA is the governing body. So remember, the HOA is you in that circumstance. This is where things get a little bit tricky, right? Like the HOA is nothing more than the governing body of homeowners. It's homeowners association for anybody listening to this, right? So like, what does that mean? Well, you're going to have bills in a homeowner association, okay? Because you own the thing. Whether it's the landscaping around the side out front, the lights on a building specifically, or in a neighborhood, who's cutting the grass, at the property or common areas and subdivisions, who's taking care of, playgrounds if they have them, or pools, or these types of things. So that's just one, you're looking at the maintenance and repair cost of the overall structure of the building. So, you're at the liberty of what was negotiated by whoever is in charge of that on your board, and how much those things are affected by inflation or supply chain. There's a lot going on there. So we've seen HOA fees, very reasonable, but those are, you see $150 HOA fee in Florida, I guarantee you they're not doing anything to that property.
I was gonna say, isn't that why a lot of them got in trouble to begin with, because they weren't doing the necessary repairs, and then we had the unfortunate situation in Miami with the condo collapsing, and then the governor was making the HOA, have a certain amount in reserves and doing the engineering assessments because HOAs weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And yeah, they want like 25% reserves. Now they're asking for up to 50% reserve. They want these reserves fully funded, which is smart. So there's a lot of nuance here, y'all. Like, if you guys want to go deeper on these questions, please feel free to reach out to us. But like, especially with the condo stuff, I'm very cautious to give generalities here, just because it is going to be building by building, and it's going to be, they'll all be different. We could look at 5 buildings right next to each other and they'll be managed different. The cost will be different. It'll just be, it's Wally World, so you gotta kind of work in reverse from there. But it's such a good question. And at some point, right? Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. At some point, they're going to be a hot deal. They're going to be a smoking hot deal, and everybody's going to run back into it. But I don't know when that's going to be. It could be months. It could be years. So, right? It's like, oh man, you're just trying to wade through this, because y'all, I invest. I live right next to the water. I'd love to go pick up a beach condo, right, and have that spot. That I can't wait for that to happen. But right now, I'm in the business, and I'm like, not seeing what I like here. All right. So hopefully that shares some context. Doesn't make me right, but I'm in the game, and I am very cautious.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your situation. That is some people's dream, and that's what they want, and they're willing to take the risk and go for it. I helped a family find a condo this year, and the HOA, they were on top of it. Like, they had already gotten all their assessments in. They had already assessed the homeowners in advance. Some buildings had opted to pay all that up front to beat all the hustle and bustle of everyone else trying to scramble and get it done by the deadline. So they were way ahead of the game. So over half that assessment was already paid before they put their condo for sale. So that was a good deal for them. That was their dream.
Yep. And that's the thing, right? Because there are people who have the resources and they can make that happen. And we, like, our goal is not to stand in anybody's way. We just want to make sure everybody's informed and they're making the best decision for themselves. So yeah, I'm with you. And she's right. Like, some of these people are like, I've been working on this for 50 years. It's happening. Right? You're like, my people, right? So I get it. Like, once you become a Florida, like, listen, when you move to Florida, like, I realize that natives will argue, and I'm not here to get into that stuff, man. Like, I respect this place. I brought my business here. When we move people here, we literally tell you, like, don't come here and suck up all the resources and take away from the community. And, like, I'm saying that in a different term now, but like, I raised my family here. Stacy raises her family here. We want you guys to have a great experience so you can contribute to the good of the community, right? When someone is unhappy with their circumstances, that's when they tend to take. And that's what we're trying to help people avoid, because, again, you're going to run into me and my family. You may go worship in our church. You may run into us at Publix. You may see us at the restaurant. Like, we want you guys to have an incredible experience so you can add to the beauty and the wonder that is, I mean, we're a different breed, y'all. The people that move here, right, knowing the sky spins 300 miles wide, and you're still like, yeah, it's a good idea. I'm going to do it, right? Like, we're wired different. Right? And that I'm proud of that, and I love it here. Right? We have no intention of leaving, even with all the things that we've been challenged with. So we're with you guys. All right, I got a couple more questions, and we're gonna wrap this up. Shout out to Evan, who's been really engaged tonight. He says, with so many schools in a dense radius, is there a lot of maneuvering or drama around parents getting their kids in the top-rated schools out out of zone schools? It's a great question. I'll let Stacy kind of give you some insights on this because she's really dialed into the process. But we've got school of choice. Stacy, give Evan some insights on this.
Yeah, so we do have school choice, and it depends on the county you live in and the programs that are being offered. But for Pasco County, for example, we have like at least 20 different either magnet programs in elementary school, middle school, and high school. You have tons of options, and they spread them out throughout all the schools within Pasco County, so everyone's not trying to get to one particular school. You do have to live in that county in order to apply. I believe I was doing some research on this. I think you can apply if you don't live in the county. However, like if you have something under contract, but it's going to close after the application deadline, you're just put at the bottom of that list. So each program's different. Some of them you have to test in or fill out an application and have teacher references, and others it's just a lottery system. So it really depends on the program and what you're looking for your child. But there are tons and tons of options for you to pick from.
Yeah. And, in all fairness, Ivan, as a parent, I'm just going to be transparent with you. People are always fighting to get into the best schools, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I don't know where you live, but like I've never been anywhere in my life where the best schools weren't highly coveted and people weren't and I don't mean physically fighting, but like, yeah, people are trying to make that happen for their kids. And I appreciate the question as a parent. So like, that's great. The school choice thing here is a huge differentiator. I mean, we get into so many benefits of living in the state, and that's another one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely having your address in lockdown is going to help a lot of things accelerate. Period. That's the reality. Yeah. You need to have an address. They're apprehensive to do things when you have a contract because those contracts do come apart. People do lose jobs. They don't end up making the move. Like things happen. And that takes away from another student who actually lives here. So that's why Stacy's sharing that. It's not because you need to last. If you're a resident, they treat you like a resident. It's not, hey, you're a native or you're brand new. But if you are not a resident yet, that's where that differentiator kind of lies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that's very well said, Stacy. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's awesome. All right. Jane says, what's the deal about some of the Florida areas that are sinking? I heard in the news is that I know Miami has got some issues in some areas. I know California has issues in some areas. So like I can't answer that in entirety without giving terrible advice on that. So I will abstain from that and do a little bit more homework on it, Jane. But from my understanding, we were already supposed to be underwater from what we were told 25 years ago, but here we are. So, again, and kind of think through that on what it is. Evan says, wow, that's awesome. They have programs for that. Great info. Thanks, Stacy. And Evan, you're welcome. Reach out to us, man. Contact info is in the chat. For anybody wondering, again, you can text us directly, numbers on the screen, but also just go to thattampalife.com and then just make a connection there. Happy to meet with you guys. And if you want to meet with Stacy directly, just make sure you put that in the comment section. Hey, connecting with you guys in the live. Really love to connect with Stacy. And I'll make sure that happens. Okay. So we're here to do that. She's been contributing to this for, God, it's what, 2 years now? A year and a half at least. Right.
Yeah.
And I want to take a moment to recognize this wonderful young lady. She just she hit a milestone in our real estate company this past month because of the amount of people she served. So I just want to say thank you guys because you're the reason. This YouTube channel has brought us over 200 opportunities this year to serve families, over 400 last year. We don't take that lightly. We did not serve all of those people, but 400 people reached out to us last year, and over 200 have already done it this year, who are considering relocating to the area, that want to know more about living in Tampa, what that looks like. And our team is designed to serve. Stacy's up in Pasco County. She's also very familiar with Lakewood Ranch and Parish. Those are kind of like, even though they're not the closest thing to each other, she has lived in both worlds for our clients, which is great. I live here right by the beach. we have somebody to serve you in every area, and we always try to connect you with the agent who knows your backyard that you're looking at. Okay. But if you want Stacy specifically, don't be afraid to ask for her. There's many people in the chat that sing her praise over and over and over again. So much so that Chris doesn't even say hi to Juan anymore. No, am I bitter? No, I'm not bitter. No, but we're here to serve y'all. So we say it every single week. We are so grateful. Stacy, any final words before we sign off this evening?
Just thank you. Thank you for showing up again. And it was a good night.
Yeah, you guys make this fun. You really do. We look forward to Tuesdays. We had lunch together today, and we're like, oh, we're going to Tuesday tonight. We can't wait. So happy Taco Tuesday to y'all. If you guys are on the West Coast, it's about to start sliding in the evening for you. Hope you guys have an incredible evening. And as always, and until next time, go out
and live that Tampa life.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great evening. Take care.